It's time for Tuesday Tea with Liz, so make yourself a priority.
Hi guys, welcome to Tuesday Tea with Liz. First of all, let me just pour a bit of tea. All right, today I'm having zesty Earl Grey Empress tea. I'll bring it to you so you can have a look. Sometimes I have my tea without milk because I like to taste the actual tea. Oh, it tastes really good. And also I have my cookie jar here, which I'm going to show you. It's actually the Spice of Life cookie jar. And if you don't know what the Spice of Life is, go Google it. I am quite passionate about crockery. That's one thing you'll learn about me. So in the sessions, it's going to be raw, unfiltered, and authentic. It is unscripted as well. Okay, so you're going to see a bit of bloopers. You're going to see a bit of me rambling on. But fear not, because I want to show you my authentic self and who I am as a person. And I think sometimes social media, they only show the good sides. They only show the scripted sides. You see, there you go, a blooper now. More than enough, they don't actually show the real thing, like, the what is actually going on. So background information, most of the time, I'm actually behind the camera, directing, producing, and scripting for actually a very long time. It's one of the other things that I do, which not many people know about. And so today, for the first time in ever, I am coming in front of the camera, producing myself and seeing where this goes. And I hope you enjoy the sessions with me every Tuesday, whether you're, coming back on a train from work, or you are already at home getting ready for dinner time, or getting the kids ready for whatever they need to be. And I hope you enjoy my space. It's certainly going to be a fun ride and a fun journey. So here I am. So before we get to the crux of things, in order to understand me, and every time I tell a story to my friends and family, I always say, let me start from the beginning. And every time I say that, I needed to be seated down in my chair, like really comfortably, even when I'm on the phone, right? And I said, wait, just let me have a sit first. And let me get my cup of tea or coffee, before I tell you the story. And when I was younger, I used to say, we need to tell the story on the bed because it's like a bedtime story thing. So here I am now. An introduction. My name is Elizabeth. I hail all the way from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, on the east side of Malaysia, in the city, away from the city, wherever you like to call it. And growing up, I lived in a multicultural community, and more so of a Malay community in my area. And I'm so glad to have grown up with all you amazing, crazy young bunch of people. And most of us are still friends today, which is amazing. And my first time, when I went to kindergarten, that was my happiest time, honestly, my happy moments. My first everything was in kindergarten. So let's just start from there. So having grown up in a multicultural background, I went to a kindergarten that I had friends from all over the globe. And because I had friends from all over the globe, I went to different friends' houses. I experienced different foods. I had friends from America, from Africa, from Malaysia, from Southeast Asia, from the UK, everywhere around the world. And it was actually cool. So, and people mostly think that, I look Asian, right? And I look Chinese, but my first language is English, and my second language is Bahasa Melayu, which is Malay, basically. And these are the only two languages besides Indonesian that I can speak and write fluently in. So when people ask for me in directions, like when I was in Singapore, people ask for me in directions in Chinese, and I will respond to them in English or Malay, and they will look at me blankly because they're like, oh, you don't understand. I mean, I do understand to a certain extent. It is quite broken, and so I usually converse on a day-to-day basis in English and Bahasa. So there you go. There's just a bit about the languages I speak. But then, when I was growing up also, I used to watch telenovelas. Yes, telenovelas when I was maybe 7 years old. And that really developed my love for the Spanish and the Mexican language and all the soap operas, and especially the cuisine as well. So in kindergarten, we had the best menu ever. Fridays was honey chicken rice kind of thing, and it was like the best dish ever. And I used to want to take it home because it's so good. And I used to steal my friend's nuggets, and he was like almost going to finish his and he's like a big eater like me as well. And if you're watching this, you know who you are. And I used to say, "Oh, can I just take your nugget? Like it's really really good. I love nuggets." And then we did had also carrot and cucumber sticks for tea breaks. So I was getting in my nugget intake before my carrot and cucumber sticks. But we had such a great time in kindy. And actually, my grandmother, she played such a big role in my life growing up, because as my parents were busy with work and my mom was also at work, I actually stayed with my grandma and she took care of me. And you know what? This tea time thing, maybe it comes from her, because one of my fondest memories is her and her friends used to come over to her place, and they'll all be in kaftans or jubas as we call it here in Asia, and they'll come all with their different kuehs. Kueh is basically like a Malay dessert, and it has different types of kueh muih. We call it kueh muih here, and every time it's going to be plated out, and they'll have it with their tea. So the grandmothers would bring the kids around from the neighborhood, and the kids will have their kids, table. I don't even remember how I remember this, and then the grandmothers will sit and gossip and talk and laugh, and it's boisterous, it's loud, and tea time is like from 3 o'clock or 3:30 to like 5:30, basically, just before dinner time. So it's basically like your pre-dinner drinks here in Asia. So being with my grandmother, she actually taught me the art of hosting. And she taught me how to set the table. She taught me how to speak, how to address people, how to greet people from different countries, how to be prim and proper, basically, what to wear, what not to wear to certain events. And yes, I have been going to events since I was in kindergarten. So right now, the slow life works for me, which we'll get there in a second. So, but just understanding where I come from, I think that's the most important thing. And I think one of those things that is so crucial is authenticity. More than often enough in social media, people mask what's authentic and what's real. And something that growing up having most of things having to be scripted, I finally am free to say what I want and how I want it, and who cares at the end of the day, right? I mean, you only live your life once, so let's have a sip of tea to that. Anyways, if you're at home and you happen to be free on Tuesdays, why don't you make yourself a pot of tea with maybe with your favorite cookies, or maybe if it's coffee, or maybe it's a gin and tonic. Sit down and, have some tea with me. So yes, my grandmother. And so I learned basically everything from there. And then coming from Malaysia, we only speak 2 languages. So English and Malay. I speak English and Malay since I was in kindergarten, and we don't really speak Chinese, even though, I look Chinese. So those are my 2 languages that I basically converse in most days. I do understand a bit of different other languages, but the Chinese language, maybe a bit of Cantonese when ordering food here and there, I can do it. But other than that, I just don't get it. And that's not how we roll in our household. So yes, my grandmother, she taught us all these things. And naturally, my mother, as you can see, the painting up here is painted by my mom. She is an artist and also a woman of many talents. So I think growing up, after going to, we went to kindergarten. Yes, we went to kindergarten, and then went to a local Kebangsaan school, which was back in the day, BBGS. And I went there up till grade 4, which is standard 4. And then my mom pulled me out and we started homeschooling with American and British syllabus. The reason why she pulled us out was because we were not learning enough in school. Teachers were not showing up back in the day, and we're just having fun in the playground, and she wanted us to learn. Like, education was so important, right? So yeah, that's just a bit about me. And then when I was growing up, I played two musical instruments from the age of 3 as well, piano and violin. And I also did start art classes, and I did all the extracurricular activities. So as a child, my schedule was pretty packed, and I loved playtime at 5 o'clock when all the neighbors used to come out and we would just like play football. Yeah, we used to cycle as well, and we used to do all these things. And one of my fondest food, it was really silly. Like my friend, we decided actually to put Smarties and a toastie together for afternoon tea one afternoon, and we're like in her kitchen, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is so delicious. Why did we not think of this? And we used to put Nutella in, and whatever kids make, and we had such fun times. So I guess I grew up in a community where everyone was quite supportive of each other, quite helping for one another, and that's where I learned the art of generosity and giving. I think generosity and giving is one of the core values that is still ingrained in me until today. And you know what? They say your environment shapes who you are. And I firmly so believe in that. You know what? Nobody is perfect, first of all. And we all come from different families, different backgrounds, different races, different countries. Whatever our family setup is like, it is what it is. Number one, I don't compare. Number one, I don't compete, because comparison kills. And of course, we've been over the teenagers, which we'll talk about shortly. But these two things really taught me to stay grounded: generosity, giving, and do not compare and do not compete. Because you know what? You are your own self. God only made one of you, one of me, and to be on this planet. And so why would I want to be like someone else? Why would I want to emulate, as we had a celebrity phase back in our teens, which I love, Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, by the way, and also NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Like, why? Oh, not forgetting J-Lo, like, because I used to dance as well, and I really love J-Lo because she's an amazing dancer until today. But why should we emulate when we should learn who we are as a person, and we should become the best version of ourselves? Because your key is your authenticity, and no one can steal that away from you. And your story is your best testimony anyway. It's your story. No one can take it away from you. That's why this whole chapters and all these series that are going to be coming out is going to be uniquely me. And I'm just going to say whatever's on my mind. So see, as right now, nothing's scripted. So I'm just saying what comes to my mind. So in a way, I think we ought to ourselves, because life is so short. And we go about our day like, and we don't know what's going on most of the time. We're in a cycle, we have family responsibilities. Those of you who are married, you have kids, you have a family, you have a community. And those who are single, or, those who are single parents, or your setup could be so different, or you could just be single like me, no children, turning 35 this year. God forbid in Asia. In Asia, women get married quite young, and at the young age, people start asking like, why are you not married? Do you have a boyfriend? No, I tried. I've been dating and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. But in a sense that I think you should spend time with yourself to learn about yourself more, because you have so many people to take care of, right? And if you don't feed yourself first, and if you don't be yourself, and you don't get to know yourself as a person, how then can you serve your community? How then can you serve your family? When your cup is empty, how can you fill other people's cup? Because there's certain amounts of energy that you can put into during the day, whether you are like juggling your own business, or working corporately, or being a stay-at-home mom, or stay-at-home there's nothing wrong with stay-at-home moms, by the way, or stay-at-home dads or whatever it is, or people who just are homemakers. Let's put it the way, homemakers, right? I think I really applaud these people, because I don't think you know how difficult it is to run a household, to make sure everything is going smoothly, and then having to come back from work, and then having to cook dinner. And you know what? Here in Asia, at least some people have help here, have helpers at home that can help with all the housework, but most people in general, the majority don't. And you're so tired. So sometimes you need to take that me time for yourself to recharge. And my tea time is like, my me time. So, yeah, basically. And you are like pulled in different places, and your environment dictates who you are. So, and I do understand that everyone comes from different backgrounds. Some come from, not, the circumstances aren't good. Sometimes it's a very toxic environment. And I dare say here in Asia, in terms of the secured, healthy, or toxic, most of the times it's leaned towards toxic. And you know what? Guess what? We have to grow out of that. We have to want to learn. You have to learn to be better. And you know what? No one can force you to do that. And this whole thing is, you yourself need to realize where you are, where you come from, and how you are, and how you got to be here. Hey, there's only one of you, as I said previously. So you know what? Working on yourself is the best investment you can ever do in your life. Because once you feed yourself, you can feed others. Okay, so the next question I'm going to say, as my favorite childhood memory, my favorite food, my comfort food, my ultimate comfort food. It might be a surprise to most, but my comfort food is actually spaghetti bolognese. Yes. First memory of it was in children's house. Yeah, my kindergarten. And we used to cook it at home a lot, like maybe once or twice a week. When I get really sad last time, or I used to be so stressed out, I would literally make myself a bowl of spaghetti bolognese, or spag bol, or spag bol, or however you call it. Right up till this day, I still eat spaghetti bolognese with a whole lot of parmesan, and sometimes salad on the side, and garlic bread. And that is one of my comfort foods, actually. So I don't order it when I go out. I try not to, because I think I can make it much better. And the timing of the bolognese, it needs to reduce. Kind of like the proper time is around 4 to 5 hours, but if you're in a rush, 1 hour is fine. And I usually put a dash of wine so that it reduces, and it tastes better and better. So speaking about food, because we are having tea together, okay, what I have here is like pineapple tarts, and these ones are really yummy because they're actually homemade, and they actually made the pineapple tarts from scratch. Most of these days they're made in a factory. So before we end, I'm just gonna have one of these. Excuse me. The butter is so good. The butter matters when you're making pastry. I'm going to just chew first. Okay. Now that's good. The flavor combo, pineapple tarts, zesty Earl Grey. That's very good. Okay. Sorry, I need to chew first, because you shouldn't chew with your mouth open, or talk when you have food in your mouth. But anyhow, we have 1 minute left on the clock. Thank you for being here this week. Thank you for being in this space. And whoever you might be, maybe it be one person listening at first, or 5 people, or how many it might be. This whole series is about me. It's about my personal journey, my personal walk, my own experiences, and what has shaped me to be who I am today. So I'm spilling the tea on myself. Yes. So, and when we finish the sessions, we usually say, I'm going to say, make yourself a priority, because I always tell my friends that you have to take care of you first, because no one's gonna be able to do that except for you. Oh, yes. And my alarm is there. So we have hit the 20 minutes button. As you can see, there's an alarm to tell me when to stop. But yeah, so make yourself a priority this week in whatever you're doing. Please, peace and blessings upon you. And if you like this session and you like this version of me, stay tuned for next week, because we're going to unpack more things. So thank you very much for being here. Have a great week. Have a great week ahead. Till next time.